Hello and welcome to the 105th episode of Rambling Weekly. How's it going? Hi. Hello. I hope you're doing well. As you can see, I'm got the the fuzzy look. We've the 115th time I've done the fuzzy look. I don't know. I go through these micro middle life crisis. It's not even crisis. It's legit. Just I don't feel like doing much, so it grows out, and then I just shave it all off and look like a naked mole rat for a little bit, and then just do it all over again. But hi. Hope all is well. Hope you've been doing well. In the immortal words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? I figured this would be an appropriate time to do this. It's close to the end of the year. Also, I mentioned it in the last episode, my grandmother passed away on the 7th, and we had the showing and funeral services. That came out really. The showing and funeral services yesterday on the 14th, and then the interments tomorrow. So, thoughts really haven't quite been terribly focused on Rambling Weekly or like other things. So figured this is an opportune time, so I can put out all the goals that I will fail to reach. Like, I think I mentioned before, I've tried to aim for 200 pages. We'll talk about that in a moment, but for Sage's Calling too. But yeah, I don't know. Put out the goals. I think I mentioned this before. Sure, it would be nice to hit some of these, but in the same hand, it's more of to kind of incentivize me to keep the ball rolling. But yeah, that is that. So I made a little list. I put it on a receipt of all things. Why? Because I didn't want to use a notebook, because they're filled with all sorts of notes of different things. So, yeah. Anyways, we're going to now get into this. I have a bit of a problem. I can comment on YouTube videos, or just send messages or something. Not terribly difficult, but I don't like to type when I write things. So first off, we're going to go and talk a little bit about the part 6 for Genealogy of the Holy War, which is going to cover chapters 10 and the epilogue. Yeah, thank goodness. Just because finally got through and played through, and I'm actually now getting into the epilogue, and then everything that entails with that, plus a little bit more. But I'm 6 pages in. 6 pages in. 6. So I'm a bit of a maniac, and I have to write it by hand before I can type it out. I don't know. It's something about it. My brain won't allow me to just type something out. It's like it needs that focus, that slow down to be like, hey, do a little bit more. And it's not like it's super heady and it's the same thing with Sager's Calling Part 2. But so Part 6, I don't know how much through on it, but I'm at least getting into the epilogue, and just some odds and ends with that. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the year, but that will depend very heavily on work, as well as just how the holidays treat me. So we'll see how that goes. That's fingers crossed. I'd like to have it done by the end of the year and released, but yeah. Okay, so there's that. All right. Oh, there we go. Next up. Sager's Calling Part 2. I've just started on page 97 there. And yeah, once again, this is something I go through, and so for whatever reason, I always start with the back of a notepad and work my way forward. I couldn't tell you why. It's just something I do, but hey, but yeah, so I am currently on the 97th page of Rambling Weekly. I am like, I know where I'm going with it, and especially like throughout most of it, there's going to be some little tweaks here and there. Because I think I've mentioned it before, but this was initially intended to be a game that I was working on with previous guests, David and Arbel, or Matt, and we, you know, when that kind of got shelved and everything, I was like, so part 1 and part 2 are meant to be what the game was intended to be. So, and I split it up because if I didn't, I would have had to make it like microscopic print to like, because I'm doing the self print and there's limitations. I think it's like something ridiculous, like 815 pages or something. I'd have to double check, but I knew that it wouldn't fit, so I was like, we'll chop it up into 2. I know of a good spot, and do that. So yeah. I was hoping to hit 200 by the end of the year. I've got 16 days to write 100 pages, which my brain will not allow me. It's like a lot. it's like a ton. It's 6 to 7 pages per day, and unfortunately, that's just not going to happen unless there's a lot of like. Unless I cheat it and just like, yes, no. Well, I said yes. Well, I said no. Do dialogue breaks to get that. I don't think that would be. It'd be like I don't know. It was fine, but then like the second 100 pages is just like a back and forth of yes and no's, and I don't know why. Don't know what the author was thinking or trying to do. Trying to inflate my page count. But I already have with the like immediate stuff that I need to have it in my head and just in general for what needs to be done, and what the whole bit of the story is, right? So it's more of just like, okay, and then kind of getting these little odds and ends and stuff, and trying to make it work out, plus things that I have in mind. So, yeah, so that's where we're at with that. Couple other things I will be starting up. This will this is one of the goals. So actually, I'll get into it with, we'll kind of bounce in between that, because I wrote personal, but there's really, I mentioned the thing, about my grandmother passing away and stuff, but like, other than that, there's really not much to, work has been work. So there really hasn't been terribly much on that front. I am going to totally do something real quick because I forgot to. Oh, did you see that? I don't know, did you? I'm not paying attention. I don't even know why I'm trying to be sneaky about it. I could just do a quick cut, but that takes away the... Like, I've never been a big fan of the cuts. A, because I don't do them very well, but more importantly, I think there's a little bit of a... I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say dishonesty with cuts, because that's not fair and that's not right. but there's a little bit more of a low-key affair, we'll say. There aren't cuts and stuff. But there are reasons why it's important. I get that. I'm being goofy. Yeah. Personally, I really don't have much else. But I'm gonna start getting into a little bit of this. So, how to do? Oh, I guess so. One of the goals I have to by the end of next year, I would like to finish a rough edit for Sage's Calling 2. I don't know how likely that's going to be. I fear that the rough edit is going to be... So, how to put this? I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but and I might have it over here. Part 1... buried in a mess. Actually, I think it's over there. But part 1, and it's not. It's just like a pile of notebooks, notepads that don't have anything on most of them. There's a couple of them that do. Part 1, I want to say it was like 456, 58 or something pages handwritten. Or four, like in the high 400s. I want to say 458, 465, somewhere around there. Maybe even 485, 483, somewhere around there. Regardless, I am almost at 100, and I am... It has been... Let's see. In the scale of how much is left to, like, that I'm trying to get into the story for it, I am probably... I mean, I'd have to kind of think about it. It might only be like a 10th of the way through. Maybe a 12th. But I know that doesn't translate to the exact amount of page count, because it's not one for one. And even like I went with a bigger font and a little better spacing, so people who are hard of seeing, like my mother dearest, can at least have an easier time reading. But it came out to 432. Spoilers. 432 pages. So, yeah, I think I'm about like a 12th of the way through for what I'm trying to get through. Like I would not. I don't want to split it up. So either I've got to make tough cuts or figure out something. I mean, at least I can kind of work it a little bit and be like, well, I can reduce the font a little bit. I can reduce the margins a little bit. So I have wiggle room, a little bit of wiggle room, but so yeah, I would like to get a rough edit of it finished by the end of the year for Sage's Calling 2. Working title, if you want to know, is actually the little author wording that I put here. It is not going to be the title, but I do like it. But the working title is For Love Ever Forward. So it is not, I think that's a nice title. It's not what I'm going with, because there's a reason why the subtitles are what the subtitles are. Because why not? Yeah, so there we go. Okay, then next up, if you're watching right now, hi, Nostalgia King. I see you through the camera every now and again. We're posting those updates on Facebook. Anyways, I am petty in my cheekiness, and I will be doing the review for Redwall and continuing those. I don't even know. I have no idea why I thought it was appropriate to not just like do them all and just go through it. But I'd like to try to get through at least half of the Redwall series for reviews. and do a little bit more of that. Also, just in general, may do some more book reviews of stuff, because I just grabbed a few that I had on hand real quick. I've got a lot of books that I'm looking to read through. Some of them I may disagree with way heavily, but some of them, they might be kind of interesting. I don't know. I'm actually really looking forward to finally getting to that As You Wish one, because I really like The Princess Bride. So, but I might do that. It might be something I add in as a thing of like book reviews, and maybe nothing like too heady, because I think there's, I don't know how to put this. I don't know how to put this other than to make it sound like I'm a complete idiot. So, I, while I appreciate the idea of kind of trying to work out, or to be like really, really, almost like you're giving an essay or dissertation on something, and you see it a lot with like game reviews and stuff. I am not like that. Surprise. I I was never very good at writing essays. It is not my thing, and I, not that I find them boring or unnecessary, but how to put it? It doesn't like, I think the best way to like go about doing something is to go through it like yourself, because you can, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Like, you can lead somebody to like through your thought process on something, and sure, that is neat to cool and be able to understand and see where somebody came to with this. But I think like, to get a firmer grasp on it is to read the thing yourself, and then have like dialogues and talks about it with other people. Sure, you can get stronger context for things by like understanding the history of what's going on in the moment, or like something about the author, or singer, or whatever it is with the song, or whatever, right? But I think there's a vibe of finality, not necessarily that it is fully the case, but there is a bit of a this is, I plant my flag here, and this is where it's going to sit for a while. And while monoliths like that are not bad or anything of the sort, I'm, for myself, if I want to, if I want to go and dive into really deep into something like that, I'll talk to people, and a lot of times I feel like that isn't quite, that energy is better put to other things, not necessarily games. And that's not to take away from games being a fun and interesting medium, but I feel like a lot of times there's a dearth of really like, I think with stories and that entertainment, that I think it is best to have like morals and contemplations and stuff intertwined in them to some degree. And a lot of times that's not the case, which isn't, that's fine. Mario doesn't need to have a have some sort of moral dilemma plaguing it. It is a little game, which is fine. But outside of just kind of doing a historical detailing of it, really, I kind of, I wonder, I guess. I don't know. I try to sit through some of them, and then some of them I'll put on while working because I do a lot of driving, so it's at least easier to hear it. So something like Modular's videos and stuff, he does a lot of like the context, the historical stuff for it, and then like kind of bouncing between that and just like what's going on, and then like the game itself and going through the game. Um, and for people who aren't going to play it, I think that's probably the best way to go about it. But then you kind of, it is being condensed down from a 20 to 40 hour game, into like an hour and a half, 2.5 hour experience. So you get a distillation of it, but it's not the same, right? You're only getting it's being filtered to you, and if it's something you start playing you don't like, and you say you don't like it, and then all of a sudden people are like, I don't know where I'm going with any of this. Yeah, I don't know. I've lost the thread on where I was with that. So, sorry. But yeah, I'd like to just do go through half of the Redwall series and then talk about some of the books and stuff. That'd be nice. So I, for whatever reason, have had a bee in my bonnet, and a lot of games. A lot of Switch games. Maybe because I wanted to validate my Switch purchase from years ago, and I've really not done a good job of that. Which isn't fair, because there's been quite a few of them that I've really enjoyed. But so perhaps something to do like a review on at some point. I don't know. Probably not this one, but I've been enjoying Dragon Quest 3, the HD, 2D, 3D, 4D, 1000D. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, I have stopped though, because I picked up Tactics Ogre Reborn, and I played through the PSP one, and then had the review eons ago. Yes, just toss it, just throw it. But I don't know, I was itching for that style of tactical game after playing Genealogy, and haven't played it since the PSP video that I did eons ago. And I was like, you know what? I like this game, and I sure, let's see how it's doing. And I don't know when last time I played it was, but it was probably about a week and a half ago. That's probably about a week and a half ago. So I've only done like about 8 hours or so altogether, but it's just like, okay, all right, it's I'm enjoying this. That I also I mentioned it before in a different one, but I still haven't played Warriors yet, so oops. That, and I picked up I've never played this. Now, it came out, when it came out, there was people that I know got a hold of it before it was released, and they played through it, and I was like, I'm not playing through this, and I don't want to see anything. And for whatever reason, it has always been relegated to the time that I have just kind of fell out of favor. Like it happened not partially, but a big reason why is because of it being online, because I didn't have a computer or anything to play it proper. But with FF11, and that's FF12, the Zodiac Age. Like I've never played it. I get told that it's one that I'll probably enjoy. I do like the setting, and I think it takes place a whole bunch of years, like millennia or something, before Tactics. So I don't know. It'll so at some point I will get into that. I've been eyeballing it for probably close to like 12, 15 years. just kind of, well, maybe not quite 15, but at least 12 years, just kind of side-eyeing him and be like, I could buy this. But I don't. And now I did. That, I have, I still have absolutely no interest to play the second game. And it's neat to see that they're coming out with the Wii U game. It's supposed to come out next year, like a re-release of it and stuff. But it's Chronicles 3. I played through the first one. Perhaps some of you remember. I think I might have streamed a little bit of it. But actually, yeah, no, I did stream a little bit of it because it got to the right up like very early on in the first game. This was before what, Operation Rainfall and all that. Yeah, so many years ago. But yeah, I like I like the game. The second one, I have no interest in playing it, especially when I'm told, hey, it gets really good after 25 hours. Not to say that that isn't a long game itself, but I don't know if I could slog through 25 hours. Like I know I couldn't do it for Tales of Abyss, and people swear up and down that Tales of the Abyss or whatever is like super awesome. Not for me. I hate it. I hate it. Another one that I actually really enjoy. I accidentally bought this because I was like, "Oh yes, I could finally buy it." That's the Metroid Prime remastered. I was like, "Oh, it's Samus. It's Metroid Dread. It's on the Switch." No, it's not Metroid Dread. So I still don't have Metroid Dread. Makes me mad. So I need to get that at some point because I'd like to play it. I still haven't. But I really enjoyed the first one. I hope that they can get the troubles worked out for 4, just because of how long it's been and here and there, like trying to figure it out. But then I hope they release 2 and 3. I never got to play either one, and even if I've heard mixed but good things about 2, and then 3 I don't remember hearing much about it being good, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was enjoyable. I don't know. It would be nice. I enjoyed the first one. I think I've mentioned this was eons ago. One of the handful of times I've had a shock, a jump scare that wasn't intended to be a jump scare from what I could gather, but just in the sheer fact of like, oh, this is exactly how it would feel like if you ran into a creature that just like blindsided you out of nowhere. And I don't remember, like I've not played this game in close to 20 years, so I can't recall what the location is. I think there's an icy place where there's water that you can go into, or you can fall into, or you have to traverse through at some point. But I was hopping from platform to platform, missed the platform, fell in, and turned around, and I think it was like if I remember correctly, it's those dark, either they're like black or dark blue, like 3 dorsal finned kind of little fish things or whatever. It was like right there. Oh, that scared the heck out of me. I was scared. I was playing it and in the dark. Had the dorm room all like blacked out curtains and stuff like that. And I was shook. I was like, oh my gosh. No, I don't know. It's. I think the other game that has probably done that to me is the original Silent Hill, and not a lot of others. You can have the sense of dread or something from like Resident Evil, be like, oh no, oh no, oh no, but not in the sense of like, oh my gosh, that like shock. So it would be nice to replay that. So, like I said, it's been close to 20 years. So, and then I got this the other day finally. I was getting kind of worried, and then it showed up, and I was like, "Yay! It's the Fantasian New Dimension for the Switch." Um, yeah, I played through what I could of it, and I don't have an Apple phone any longer. I yeah, I think it's a lot easier to use a non-Apple phone, I guess, to try to transfer data for things because I don't have an Apple, and I don't want to go through extra hoops. So yeah, I played through the first portion, and then part two didn't come out until after I did not have an Apple any longer. But I absolutely adored the whole idea of using actual panoramas, like built panoramas for the what you call it, like pre-rendered, or like the pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff of the olden days of like the Super Nintendo, but also more so the PS1 era and stuff. I liked that. I thought that was a really nice touch. Plus, it's totally like if you like the the games that Sakaguchi was like had a hand in producing, creating, and stuff, like the very old school Final Fantasy games, or like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey. I wouldn't, or the last story. I wouldn't say it at least from what I had played of it. It doesn't quite touch Lost Odyssey levels, but I mean that's kind of in an echelon all to itself. I feel. Um, I would put it adjacent with like the last story. At least of what I had played of it. I like the last story a good deal. I think that's one of those games because it is still stuck on the Wii that it might be forgotten for a very long time. I mean, Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. I think Lost Odyssey's like just. I think eventually both of those have been not necessarily re-released, but it's backwards compatible enough on newer Xbox systems or something like that. Lost Odyssey needs a proper re-release. Like, I get it; it isn't gameplay wise, it isn't going to blow socks off of anybody. But Sakaguchi, I think Sakaguchi, that's his wheel well. Like he has got the 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 heart of the cards, the heart of his words, the heart of his like stories is very open and bare. And that's always that sort of honesty. Even if it comes across as simplistic, I think there's just an earnest effort um, that I really like. That speaks to me in a lot of ways, and not just because I'm a really big fan of the original Final Fantasy. So, yeah. So that is that. Yeah. So a bunch of games like recently. I don't know what the like I said. Being the bonnet, it's like, oh, I gotta play all these games. I've got money that's burning a hole in my pocket. So to tie into the game aspect, I would like to try to have 12 reviews for games next year. So not necessarily with the regularity of one per month, but try to get 12 of them in next year. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't know. I guess that's one of the low hurdles that it's like let's try to make this. Plus, with that, I like to get back into streaming a little bit. Maybe twice a week at most. Maybe three if I'm being really pushy. But yeah, twice a week, just do a little bit of streaming. Who knows? I've also have considered not necessarily revamping, but shifting Rambling Weekly to being more of like the live stream sort of idea. But yeah, that is something I'd like to get back into is streaming with some regular, not some, but streaming with regularity. Things that has not been something I've been very good with. Like I'll have little pockets of it, and I'll just be like, okay, I'm good. I don't want to stream anymore, which is never good for anything like that. No, not quite the approach to make. So, yeah, there is that. All right, we got that, and then I guess one last little thing I'd like to mention is if people haven't, there is his name is Alex, but his handle's ReturnToMotherBase, and he does a bunch of different videos and whatnot. One in particular, because I caught a video he did, I think it's 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago at this point, talking about some things he'd like to get to doing next year, or like continue doing and continue going with. One of those is to, I could be misquoting here, but almost in a way, I'll paraphrase as best as I can. But the as something that is a hobby, to infuse some life into the old video gaming YouTube sphere, the YouTube video gaming sphere of old. If I remember the quote, to bring back the glory days of those kind of videos and that sort of thing. The philosophy of, I guess, being like a rising tide to raise all ships, because it's just a hobby. It's just something you sort of do for fun. And yeah, you may want to do a little bit more here if that's kind of your thing. It's certainly been my thing. Is it's just something I do for fun. It's not. I have never really been. I mean, even with like doing the books and stuff, yeah, I've never been like, yes, this will make millions. Well, it's a book, so not quite the avenue to go to try to strike it rich, but people have tried sillier ideals, but it's something that I like to do, something that I enjoy to do, and if I don't enjoy doing it, I don't do it. Yeah, and so that's why I'll have these, for a long time, these kind of long spats of just there's nothing, and then surprise, there's a few things, and then I go away. I mean, people in my life, family members, know this about me. I am like the secret magic goblin of the forest who doesn't quite play tricks on people, but just kind of appears and then disappears. That's just, I cannot explain it, but that's about as best as I can define it. So, yeah. Anyways, Return to Mother Base is, it seems like he's trying to be a little bit more proactive in kind of lifting up, not necessarily to be like, hey, let's do more, but more of just lifting up the activity and interconnectedness of people, of like-minded people, say, when it comes to talking about the video games and how they go about things. And he's got this thing he's got going on. He's got a handful of episodes. Let me check how many. I just put out one with a Stevo Supremo that I'm going to watch and listen to after I get done with this. But I don't. Hopefully, okay, he does. All right. So yeah, okay. So he's got 5 of them so far, of these video games guiding with different people who've been around for. I recognize some of these names: Emperor Fox, Rilui. I don't recognize your name, but I know who you are. I know. Yeah. The Manboy Cave. That one sounds familiar, but but he truth be told, I could be wrong in who I'm thinking that is. And Blinkoom, I know who that is. I'm aware. I have an idea. Um, anyways, but he's doing kind of like a podcast. It's honestly something that I had wanted to do for a while, and then uh, I I am just terrible. I just did end up doing it. Um, yeah, and yeah. Plus, also doing the podcast stuff with Sushi B has kept that in line with that. And I mean, I still have episodes to put up with him, and yeah, all that sort of fun jazz. So I should put up those sometime here early in the coming months. But yeah, check out. I'll put a link down for especially just the latest one. Give him a look see, because I fully endorse the idea of trying to be a bit more better about interconnectedness. Um, I know I'm bad about that, and I'm probably not the best the best person to try to do it, just because of my track record of here's some things. I will say this though. This past year has been quite the active. It might be the most active my channel has ever been in the sense of putting out videos. Um, I've been well behaved. I, I have done a very good job of putting out rambling weeklies. Not so much on the review front, since I started doing the genealogy thing back in April. But that's so like something about that. Like I cannot do all of it at once because I don't have that much space on my computer. So that was the big reason why I chopped it up. I just don't have. I don't have a lot of space on my computer. The end. There's no other excuse. There's no other story. That's how it is. But yeah, I since about February. So I didn't do anything in January, but since about February, I have been consistently putting out stuff. And it's certainly the most active I've been in a long time. It is not quite 50 episodes. Yeah, it's a little over 40. A little bit over 40 little videos and stuff. Sure, you could say I cheated with some of these little quick things instead of turning them into shorts, but I turn them into shorts when I can just make short little videos. But it's been nice to be a little bit more consistently on top of it and just kind of plugging away. That tells you that I've been enjoying it. It hasn't been as much of a I don't know how to put it. Not I don't want to say annoyance because that's not the right word, but more of I don't feel as beleaguered when I do it, if that makes any sense. So I think it's helped to be like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. I know I've mentioned it before, but I think the way that Slade, previous guest on the episode, Slade has described my channel, helped me be like, oh, this is where I get back into, like, sometimes it's better to just talk with the person instead of being talked at or something, because then sometimes things just spark and be like, oh yeah, and then it sticks a bit better. But I also have a hearing disability, so what do I know? Hearing is not quite the thing you should trust me on. But the the way he described my channel is just, pretty much been just I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. If you want to hang out, cool. If you don't, cool. Enjoy your time either way. So, but yeah, I think that is all the ramblings I got for this episode. By B. Clark's book, gameplay, harmonies, But yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, listening, all that sort of fun jazz. Yeah, if you've got any sort of goals or whatnot, you list them down below or make a video and let me know. So I can hold you accountable for that. So I can hold your feet to the fire. So, so or just make the list for yourself and hold yourself accountable. Because more importantly, that is, like that's why I even mention them. Like certainly I could just kind of write a thing and then be like, okay, that's. It also makes it easier to be like, hey, these are what my goals are. Certainly other people can be like, hey, did you reach those? Or they can kind of press you about it, but in the same hand, it's all on to you to be like, oh yeah, I'm a schmuck. I didn't get that. So yeah, thanks once again for watching, listening, all that sort of fun jazz. Enjoy your day, weekday, weekend, weeknight, and everything in between. And yeah, I'll be back next week for another episode. I don't know if I'll do the video again. Maybe not. I know I hadn't been on a cover in a while, so I figured, hey, I'll put my beautiful face on on whatever. Anyways, the outro is going to be the credits theme from GoldenEye 64. This is the remix version. I know I've not used it before, but it's such a good tune. I'm half tempted to just use that as the as a reoccurring outro theme until he tells me don't. Because I think it's such it's a good song. B, it's a phenomenal like remake. That whole remixed album is so good. Very talented individual. I can't remember the other ones that he's done, but there were a couple I listened to that was just like the same sort of things. Like, oh, this is really good. So highly recommend give his stuff a listen. Truthfully, I don't know if he's done anything lately. Well, yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not sure if he's done much anything lately, but that is kind of the nature of YouTube, where things get buried and you miss out, and then you have some channels that, in a way to try not to be missed out, will do multiple releases of stuff, and it's a game I don't like playing. And sometimes that's the game you have to play, depending on what you're going for, right? So that is it. Thanks once again. Toodles.